كنا وجعان
I'm Andres Fasciolino from Uruguay. We came here to India touring with Amares Teatro, our theater company. We came in January 2020, and now, who would have even dreamed to be here 2 years later? Yes, that's how we are here. A matter of fate, a matter of luck, a matter of resisting and going beyond the fears as well.
Well, my name is Bettina. I was born in Uruguay, and my mom is Brazilian, and I have like Japanese roots, so it's a mixture of many things there. And yes, I am part of Amares Teatro since 6 years that we are traveling together, traveling and working with theater, clown.
Each culture call it in a different way and have different method of approaching, but I think it's connecting to the essence that is within us, and we part of the big picture of the big spirit, the greater spirit as Native American call. So power may be the word to be revisited in me, but power of this potential of life growing, potential of death, recycling, the balance, this dance. Some authors in Mexico, they talk about this, hombres de poder o mujeres de poder, hombres de conocimiento. But somehow, however the tradition is bringing them, I think the essential part is again reconnect and connect and flourish and help this grow. Clear defilements if they exist. Clear the obstacles for us to keep going and growing, expanding, fulfilling the mission, maybe removing suffering, escaping the round of samsara, and dealing in different, according to different cosmovisions, but I think all of them go towards the same place.
Always we have this question, no? What is clown? What is? Because there are so many ways nowadays to be related with clown, no? There is the typical clown with red nose and white face, and also in the horror movies, and also this clown that we do. So yes, it's like, I think that everything maybe is clown, and also is sometimes it's easy, no? We put the red nose and you think that you are a clown, and it's like more than this, no? It's more internal, all the work that you do inside to be there.
Sacred clown is a role in a community that, depending the community, the particularities of this role, but I would summarize now that the role is to bring balance to what is going on in the present of the community. If someone is believing that has more power than the rest, this will go and do something to balance the power. So in this role we feel identified in the power of the transformation and how the transformation heals. But so they are sacred in that sense, I think, in dealing with these sacred things we have. Dealing with our fears, so we call in the Native American tradition, but it's everywhere. We found here in India, and every town, every village, every society has its own role that helps to do this balance. Through laughter, through being able to show your own ridiculousness, for others to laugh at the beauty of your own ridiculous and being identified, to bring the particularity, the personal story into the universal story. And the process of that is accepting the roundness of your life, of the being, putting light to the shadow, and in that sense you deactivate the monsters. You give light to them and there are no monsters anymore. In the hospital clowning, yes, we have a role of healing, or at least we are part of a health team. So in that role there is the doctor, the psychologist, the physiatrist, the chemist, the nutritionist, and also there is this actor or actress with this specific role that we call hospital clowning, that now has spread across the globe. And there some things of the clown, some rules of how we do the clown change. Some rules that apply to stage change. And the main goal now is not to show yourself, is not coming to show yourself, it's just to come there to articulate whatever is needed and to pull. We believe that everyone admitted in the hospital, everyone cursing and going through any illness, any process of illness, still has a healthy thread. So we try to identify which is the healthy thread, and we try to pull from this healthy thread. Whatever we do is to pull from this healthy thread to trigger and to enhance the recovery.
Humanity, no? We then in this place you only can see this humanity, this raw, very raw, no? And this is the beauty of being there in the hospital. To see that, okay, also we are in a circle that now it's you, but afterward maybe will be me. So it's like, okay, we are healing all together, whatever we need to heal. And healing, whatever you heal, I heal also, no?
We enter into a room and somehow this bed in which you are lying, it becomes a boat, and we leave the room and the boat's still there. Many times you leave, we actors, actresses, we leave the room, but the room got transformed, and this transformation can last much more than our presence there.
Yes, and it's beyond the laughter again, no? It's much more than this. Because also sometimes someone has a cytology and this person cannot laugh because it's painful, because it has a cytology. So this person doesn't need to laugh, needs other things. So everything can be possible, whatever is needed. And there is many opportunities and emotion and everything that can happen in this moment.
Again, it's this, the clown is not the one who makes you laugh, it's the one who makes you breathe. We come to breathe together and to be there in this moment. We say that we take from one teacher that one day wisely she said that clown is not the one who make you laugh, it's the one who make you breathe. To be able to breathe in the silence, to breathe in the vacuum, to breathe in the void of should I fill in this conversation or should I let the conversation unveil or reveal? Allow things to happen rather to make things happen. But it's very difficult. Other teacher also would say that clowns are stains. Each society, and the more the society is aiming towards perfection, these stains are more necessary, no? To balance, to make us remember, what is this perfection for? Is this perfect, or in the imperfection is the perfection, or in the incoherence is where the real sense of life is living and dwelling? And I would say that to be able to embrace the vacuum, the vacuum, is an act of courage, and it's an act that I feel that the society, we as society, we are not giving space to stop, and maybe to go some step back, and more in these days. We are running towards something that we don't stop to think where are we running. And many times we don't stop, and we don't want to see back, and we don't want to recognize, oh, maybe we should go back. We should accept and go back to what we have done. So at least to stop, at least to recognize we can stop.
Yes, and this is like for me the magic of the workshop of working with others, no? Because in simple exercise you can see everything, and yes, from there we can learn from each other also, because seeing the other we can see us there, no? That we did this workshop with monks, and was very interesting that the monks were saying we are talking about the same, we are doing the same that we study in Dharma, but now we are putting our bodies there. So this, no, maybe sometimes there are a lot of ideas and how to do it, but we don't know how to do it in action, no? So it's so important to practice the things that we say and we know, because there is the truth, no? The real, where we are. Part of the life, no? Start to being part of the life also, that all that you are working inside to show, no? To be in the stage and to do a show and everything, start to also being part of your daily life, and all that we work with looking in the eyes, to work with the truth, to be open and available to do whatever is needed to be done, and yes, and be like open, no? Open, something inside have to open. So this start to be part of everything.
Many times they say clown is childlike, or like child, the inner child, and we say no, can relate to the child in some things, but it's not a child. It's not. We are not kids anymore. We are adults trying to gain in again the innocence. It's a very brave decision to step into this innocent space to articulate our own experience, life experience. So we are dealing with our life experience. We are not avoiding. This would be quite stupid to neglect all the experience we have harvested. So this experience gives density to the clown that the kids don't have. They have other power, but we acknowledge and we accept and we work from our experience. And how to work with this experience, we articulate it through our innocence.
Instead of, no, because sometimes in acting you feel that you have to build a character to hide yourself behind this, no? Behind this character. And this clowning that we are searching is like being there, being yourself, being you with all that is inside you, no? All that is crossing, all the emotion, and that is part of you, and being there to share whatever it is and whatever you are, without these layers that maybe you hide, no?
But all the time we have this reminder of trying to step in this place of vulnerability as much as is allowed in the moment, to allow the transformation of the play. The play transforms a lot. Engage in a play, and more we adults, that when we play, we plus the innocence we have the experience. So this innocence of the play, this risk of the play, this apparent distance when we are playing. So it's allowed to be obsessed. It's allowed to don't want to lose. It's allowed to be mean. It's helping us to deal with these things that are there all the time. It's like the mythology in that sense. Mythology brings this distance, fictional distance, that help us deal with things that otherwise are too heavy to deal. So this also this awareness bring me the transformation. This awareness itself is a transformation of paradigm.
Everybody wants to be there, to play, to interact, to be there doing. And sometimes we put so many rules that it's so difficult to reach the other person, no? And yes, and with this maybe that's why the people gather, because it's something that maybe is lacking, that is something very basic, no?
The more you travel, the more we were thinking before, wow, Egypt, Kenya, India, how the people live. And then we realized that we all pursue the same simple goals: being safe, being with our beloved ones, celebrate if we can. We get sad out of the same things. So there is a very basic nature, not only in humanity, I think, that is beyond the cultural brought up, I think. A way of getting empathy. The clown has a status that is lower than the audience. If someone is meant to be laughed at, it's me, about us. So when you don't come to impose, you come sometimes in need. People are so kind, in fact, so kind. So kind. So we are not including this word in these conversations, but peace. Somehow there is something in creating peace, a space of peace, in recognizing that, how we can fight each other, how we can throw bombs. It's not we two, no? Of course, it's not us. So who is throwing? Yes, this brings to a transformation, and this brings to a responsibility. Once you see things, what do we do with this? So that's how we keep going as well. Somehow building this network naturally, not intentionally. The network is built. We met you. we get connected, we keep going, and the web is expanding.